Hello and welcome to this Empowered Monolith guide, which is a companion to the Max Roll written guide. If you haven't checked out the beginner guide yet and you are new to the game, I highly recommend doing that first. But if you have and you want to know more about it, or if you've already done some Monolith and are looking for more to come, or what you should do next once you get deeper into it, or what your end goal is, this is the guide for you. All right, let's start off with empowered versus normal. So we have a normal monolith, which is the first one you access, but eventually you'll be able to empower it, which will make it stronger. It'll gain 100 corruption, which will increase the damage enemies do, the health they have, but also the rewards they offer. So we definitely want to do this as soon as we can, because also it's going to let us get our empowered blessings, which are much stronger versions of our blessings, and they are very much the part of the end game grind of this game. And the first thing you need to know is, how do you empower your timelines? So what you need to do this is you have to be able to complete the Age of Winter, Spirits of Fire, and the Last Ruin timelines in normal. You can get there on the right side. If you go up the right side of the timeline islands, you'll eventually get there past Reign of Dragons, and then you just go do those three. Once you have done all three of those, you go to the center island in between them, and it will open up the middle area, and you click on the middle area, and that will empower all of your timelines. So anytime you go to a timeline, you will now have a normal and empowered version. Even if you've never done it before, even if you've never actually done the timeline, you'll still get the empowered version of it. So that's the first thing you're going to want to do. And when you do, you'll see this screen. Once you click on a timeline, it will change from just giving you the web to, do you want normal or do you want legendary? Legendary being the empowered version, where it starts at 100 corruption and gives you a lot more rewards and a lot more difficulty. Okay, let's talk about rewards in the Empowered Monolith to make it clear why you want to do this. The first thing is the blessings. The blessings roll much higher in empowered, and so when we make endgame builds, we always use the empowered blessings, because that's going to be what you're going to be shooting for, and they're not especially hard to get. Getting really good rolls on them may take you a lot longer, but we can farm these generally pretty easily and start to really build out our endgame builds right from here. Blessings are usually kind of like step one, sort of fleshing out the endgame build that you're going for. The other thing we get is boss specific uniques. So as you know from normal timelines, bosses have their own uniques. They have their own pool of uniques, but some of those uniques are actually exclusive to empowered. You can't get them from normal. So here are the exclusive uniques that you can get from empowered. Every boss has one, and then the Last Ruin has this kind of exception where that boss has an increased chance of dropping Ravenous Void versus dropping it in the world. It's still a very low drop rate, but it has that as well. That's a special mechanic just for that particular unique. All the rest have this one that you'll need to go to empowered in order to get it. So if any of these items are part of your build, Wings of Argenius is a strong contender. It often is part of builds. This is where you're going to get that. You can't get it on normal. The Shade of Orbis also has exclusive empowered drops. So if you want Apathy's Maw or Shattered Chains or Omnis, you have to do empowered. Apathy's Maw technically can drop in normal at 50 corruption, but there's no reason to scale a normal timeline to 50 corruption, and so effectively it is only empowered. And then Shattered Chains and Omnis actually need additional corruption on top of getting to empowered in order to see them drop. Shattered Chains needs 150. You start at 100 in empowered, and Omnis needs a full 200 before you can even begin to see a drop. Speaking of corruption, let's talk about that. So we did talk about corruption a little bit in our Monolith Beginner Guide, but now that we're actually going to scale it, let's take a closer look at it. You can see in the picture here, one of the things I just like visually is, as you increase your corruption, this like void stuff gets a lot larger on your screen. Not so much where it starts taking up real estate, but enough to where you can see that you're increasing the power of that timeline. So the first thing we'll talk about that increasing corruption does is increases item rarity, which makes it more likely that you're going to find exalted items or uniques. More likely the bosses are going to drop rare uniques. A very powerful tool to farm to your farming efforts. So this alone makes it worthwhile to push corruption. As far as blessings go, corruption doesn't directly affect like what blessings will drop. There's not like higher rarity blessings, but once you get over 200 corruption, you get an additional blessing option from bosses that gives you a better chance of getting the blessing that you were looking for. So pushing to 200 plus corruption significantly improves your chance of getting the blessing you want. So it's definitely worthwhile to do that, especially if you're struggling to get a blessing to drop that you're trying to get. Some other benefits of corruption are that certain levels of corruption are required in order for State of Orpus to drop certain uniques, like we mentioned. It increases the amount of stability gained from complete echoes, which allows you to reach boss fights more quickly. So if you're trying to farm a particular unique on a boss or a blessing on a boss, increasing corruption makes it so you can get there with fewer echoes in between. Echo rewards are also improved with corruption. This is like one of those kind of almost hidden things that not everyone knows, but higher corruption echoes are more likely to offer like the really good echo rewards. So like the uniques, especially the timeline specific ones, like if a particular timeline you're at is for boots, I can't remember which one is that does that, but the higher corruption means you're more likely to see the boot unique echo reward. Also exalted rewards show up more often on that. So all the rare echo rewards are less rare when you improve corruption. But also, by the way, the farther out you are from the starting point, the more likely they are to show up. So that's another additional benefit. So that covers everything for Empowered, and hopefully makes it clear why Empowered timelines, Empowered Monolith is worth your time. It's worth the rewards you're going to get, especially the blessings, but also the uniques and the echo rewards. Thank you so much for watching. We have a great time in Last Epoch, and I'll see you all again real soon.